Right now at 6:30, taking a live look at our radar from NBC Bay Area Storm Ranger, and you can see another round of rain moving into the Bay Area.
And taking a live look outside from our camera in Redwood City this morning, the current conditions there look mild. We are expecting scattered showers, though, as the morning progresses, so maybe just slap your hair into a bun today. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Chris Sanchez. I'm in for Laura Garcia.
And I'm Marcus Washington. Right now, we want to head to meteorologist Carrie Hall, tracking that storm coming into the Bay Area right now.
And not everyone's seeing the rain as you get ready to step out the door, but we're all seeing the remnants of the rain that's been moving through. So the roads are wet, and that's a reminder that you do need the umbrella. I've got Storm Ranger parked on San Bruno Mountain, and it's giving us a very detailed view, second by second, of what's happening. And we've got some rain over Belmont moving towards San Carlos. So 101, it's about to get really soggy there within the next few minutes. But also have these little cells popping up in the East Bay, so just north of San Leandro. As you drive up 580 and also 880, we're seeing some rain coming down, and where we see the yellows and the reds, that shows where the rain has been heaviest. We've also seen some of the showers approaching the Delta. This is what we'll see throughout the morning as this next disturbance moves in. This will bring in some more widespread rain, I think by about 8 to 10 o'clock for parts of the East Bay, the South Bay, and the peninsula. So we'll talk more about that. We'll look ahead to the weekend too in just a few minutes. But Mike, you're tracking a crash in Concord.
That's right, Carrie, and I'm concerned because that's where you showed some of that recent rainfall. I got a snapshot of radar not too long ago over there that Carrie had from the Weather Service, and that's over there just off Highway 4, and that's what we'll focus on because the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza is moving well and about a half hour from Highway 4 down to that stretch. Not so bad. Slowing out of Pittsburgh and Bay Point just off the freeway, Evora Road at Willow Pass Road. Willow Pass is a major cut through there. There is a crash that may be affecting traffic for a few, and with recent rain there may be slick roadways, so let's just be careful through the area. Removing the radar, you still see the damp roadways. The road weather index highlights it green there for much of the East Bay off of the 680 and the Walnut Creek interchange. There, Highway 24 also had the recent rain. Not so bad for the rest of the Bay, although a couple of crashes pop up for San Jose. I'll check on those guys. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Mike. Well, happening today, widespread protests are being held across the nation and right here in the Bay Area. Thousands of students will walk out of the school at 10 o'clock this morning. This to show solidarity with the victims of the school shooting in Parkland, Florida. Today marks 1 month since that shooting.
Hard to believe those teenagers are demanding stricter gun control and also an end to school shootings. Today in the Bay's Pete Serratos is live in Milpitas to explain how local school districts are preparing. We heard from Sharon up in Pleasanton. Pete, how's Milpitas doing things differently?
Yeah, good morning to you, Chris and Marcus. Well, we know that these walkouts are scheduled to take place for about 17 minutes around 10 a.m. That's, of course, to honor each of the victims that passed away in that Parkland shooting. But the big issue here is they support students, a lot of districts do, but they also know that it could be a disruption to class. So there was an issue here at the Milpitas Unified School District, specifically behind me here at Milpitas High. Now, on Monday, you have the superintendent sending out a letter saying that she supports the students, but doesn't condone the walkout, saying specifically in that letter that, quote, leaving campus during school hours to participate in political activity is not a safe and responsible way to work for change. And at that time, she said that any student choosing to participate in a walkout would get an unexcused absence. But yesterday, the superintendent apparently had a change of heart, saying students at Milpitas High will not get an unexcused absence for taking part in any walkout, since it'll be supervised by staff members, and they're only going to walk a few blocks away from here to the Milpitas Police Department. Now, for most schools in the district, superintendent says they will take part in a moment of silence for about 17 minutes, and they'll also have class discussions throughout the day with counselors. But that walkout, as well as that moment of silence, is set to take place at 10 a.m. We're live in Milpitas. Pete Serratos for Today in the Bay.
A lot of students standing together across the nation this morning. Thank you so much, Pete.
And we are starting to get live pictures into our newsroom this morning showing the various student walkouts happening in different parts of the country, different time zones. Walkouts are beginning now along the East Coast. You see the camera there placed on the ground as the students are there in the distance. This is what we call a pool camera, so we don't control it, but we did want to give you a look at what's happening across the nation. Our plans for the nationwide walkout originated, of course, in Parkland, Florida. That is the site of last month's deadly school shooting. Survivors have been very vocal about their desire for gun reform and changing law.
We know what we're talking about. It's not just me out here, but all of these well-informed students that it's our job to be educated, it's our job to be informed and know the future.
We're not trying to take guns away from people, we're just trying to go to school without getting shot.
Every student should be able to go to school and feel safe and secure.
Today's walkouts are not the only demonstrations the students are planning. Student activists are also planning a March for Our Lives next Saturday. The main event is in Washington, D.C., but there are similar events scattered all across the country.
And we have confirmed that students from more than 100 Bay Area schools will plan to participate in today's walkout. Now, you can see a full list on our website, NBCBayArea.com. We will have a team of reporters across the Bay Area today at those schools watching for those developments. And if you are participating and you want to get your message out, you can actually tag us in your photos as well as that video on Facebook and Twitter. Also, NBC News will also bring you a special report that's coming up at 7 o'clock.
In other news, San Francisco's Police Commission will meet today to consider equipping officers with tasers. City leaders have debated a taser policy for years, and then last November, the Police Commission finally approved rolling them out by the end of this year. Acting Mayor Mark Farrell has added a new sense of urgency to the debate, calling for a June ballot measure. Farrell tells the Examiner he will continue to push for a ballot measure until the commission approves a new policy. The commission may actually hold a vote at tonight's meeting.
Happening today, remembering the victims of last Friday's Veterans Home shooting, this in Yountville. People in Brentwood will hold a vigil at 7 o'clock tonight, organized by Contra Costa County Supervisor Diane Burgess. Now, Sonoma County, there are still questions about the response from authorities on the day of that shooting. Some wonder why it took law enforcement nearly 7 hours to storm that building. Everyone, including that gunman, was found dead. CHP is leading that investigation and so far not commenting.
All right, folks, we're looking out to the roadways, the rain having traveled through much of the Bay, and continue with light impressions here on the radar. We don't have much of an issue as far as the active rain, but still damp, slick roadways, so be careful. The road weather index shows you the green highlighting where things are a little bit tougher. That's over in the East Bay, having had the most recent rain. But I'm looking at the South Bay, where you have these couple of crashes. Northbound 101 at Tully, the more recent of the two. The other at Story is blocking possibly parts of the HOV lane. And at Tully, we may have one lane blocked. That's why there's mild slowing up to the scene. A little distraction there. Farther south, we're looking northbound through the South County. And look, not even any slowing for 101 coming up into Morgan Hill through San Martin. So that's a lighter volume of traffic. And then the East Shore Freeway, we're just under a half-hour mark, barely under a half hour,
Yikes.
Down from Highway 4 over to the Bay Bridge. That's good.
Yeah.
Unless you're in it, then it.
I know, but every day,
Still
any
traffic.
time you see yellow, it's like, yikes.
Better than red.
That's right. And Wednesday, closer to the weekend, Tuesday, but still, we're happy it's Tuesday, not Monday.
Right. It's Wednesday, and we're making
Wednesday.
it closer to the weekend. But with that rain moving through, you're like, okay, I just need to get through today. So let me show you the radar before you step out the door. Storm Ranger, we've got it scanning around and showing those showers moving through much of the East Bay, even a couple of them popping up on the peninsula. Our weather pattern stays unsettled through Saturday, and that means that we could still have some rain, but this will be the last of it. By Saturday morning, we'll start to see this rain wrapping up, but look at how cool it's going to be. Only reaching into the low to mid 50s throughout the day on Saturday. On Sunday, that's the day to get outside. We'll see those inland areas reaching into the low 60s, some mid 50s by the coast. And of course, it's not St. Patrick's Day unless you're celebrating in Dublin. The parade starts at 9:30 in the morning. Unfortunately, there is still going to be a chance of rain, and look at how chilly it's going to be. So not only do you need to be prepared for the rain, but also dress warmly as the day goes along. That rain will start to clear up. In Santa Cruz, not bad. I think the rain will get out of there a little bit earlier, but we're only going to reach into the mid to upper 50s. If you need a beach day, make sure you have on lots of layers. If you're going to the Sierra, it is looking amazing, but a lot of snow coming down, so you better plan on a lot of extra time getting there, and then that snow wraps up by Sunday. We'll talk about what's going on for today. Another view of the radar coming up in 3 minutes.
All right, thank you, Carrie. Coming up next on Today in the Bay, breaking news out of England. Dozens of Russian diplomats ordered out. They're about to be expelled. The penalty after a former Russian spy was poisoned.
And a squeaker election goes down to the wire in Pennsylvania. It looks like the Democrats have won. Marcus?
And as we always do here on Today in the Bay, right now we're looking at the stock market, and you can see the Dow is up 18 points right there. It actually opened up more than 100 points as Wall Street shrugs off the trade fears. The time now is 6:41. You're watching Today in the Bay.
Good Wednesday morning. It is 6:43 and we walk out the door to some light rain in parts of the Bay Area. It's just enough to have you turning on the windshield wipers, mostly for the East Bay and the peninsula. As we get a live look outside in San Jose as the sun rises, a few breaks in the clouds. Not raining now, but it's still wet and in Evergreen by 10 o'clock. That rain begins to fall once again. We'll see times of showers throughout the day and only make it into the mid-50s. There is some more rain in the forecast before we head into the weekend. I'll talk more about that coming up in about 5 minutes.
And we're looking at travel time for the North Bay. Still have that, under half-hour delay for Highway 37, really over at Mare Island out of Vallejo. And over in the South Bay, no major problems. Look, these are great drive times despite the damp roadways.
Well, 6:44 right now. Happening today, some parents plan to protest the Fremont Unified School District Board meeting. They say they don't agree with a series of sex education classes scheduled to begin next month. Now, those classes are for students between 4th and 6th grade. They cover topics including health, puberty, and sexuality. The district calls the teaching essential, saying that it follows state law. But it's also sparking heated debates because some parents believe it goes too far and may not be age appropriate. That meeting is scheduled for 6 p.m. tonight.
Oh, we are following breaking international news right now. The United Kingdom just announced that it will expel 23 Russian diplomats. They have 1 week to get out. British Prime Minister Theresa May says that Russia is guilty of trying to kill a former spy and his daughter. This marks the biggest expulsion from Britain since the Cold War.
So far, no official reaction from the White House.
Scott McGrew, this is a major crisis between Russia and the West.
It really is. Do not underestimate this. Theresa May, the British Prime Minister, this morning accused Russia of attempted murder. I want to show you that video from Parliament again, if I could, because what happened there was really significant. Earlier this week, May used the kinds of words that you would need to use legally to trigger Article 5 of the NATO agreement. That's the article that says an attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. Now, the Kremlin this morning said Russia didn't do it. We'll be watching the White House's reaction to Putin's denial. You'll recall President Trump, meeting with Putin there, said he asked whether Putin interfered with our American elections. And twice Putin said he didn't. Twice Trump said he believed the Russian leader. Trump has tweeted this morning, not about Putin and not about the special election in Pennsylvania either. That was a squeaker. NBC News has declared Democrat Conor Lamb as the winner, and Conor Lamb has declared Conor Lamb as the winner.
It took a little longer than we thought, but we did it.
How close was this thing? Fractions of a percent. 49.8, 49.6. It's a district Donald Trump won easily during the presidential election. Looks like a win for Democrats this morning. Former Democratic candidate for President Hillary Clinton is coming under criticism for what she said in a speech in India, that white women didn't vote for her because men in their lives pressured them not to. She's also implied states where she lost were backwards. The Washington Post ran an editorial this morning that was headlined, "Just Stop, Hillary, Please," and accused her of hurting Democrats' chances in the future, saying Clinton told an audience she won in all the smart, cool places and then hit a pandering low that puts a catalog of others to shame. Well, we will be waiting for any White House reaction to the situation in Russia and Great Britain. If that comes, I'll tweet it out immediately at Scott McGrew.
Thank you, Scott. No one's going to tell you what to think about the weather. You can choose even if your husband tells you not to listen, right? Right? What is that about? Come on, Hill.
I know. We'll just change the subject and talk about the weather because that's what everyone will be talking about when you get to work today. It's been raining off and on. The roads are still wet, and we've got Storm Ranger tracking it all for you. We're the only ones with this tool. It's a mobile Doppler radar here in the Bay Area, parked on San Bruno Mountain, and it's giving us second-by-second updates on exactly where the rain is falling. Just south of Moraga, we can see some rain falling through, and it's moving closer to Danville, so you've got a few more minutes to get out the door before that rain reaches your doorstep. It's also been raining on 580, just heading into Oakland. As I take off Storm Ranger and just show you the National Weather Service radar, doesn't give you as much detail. It just kind of just shows a big blob everywhere. This is not all where we are seeing that rain. And then I'm starting to see some light showers pop up just north of San Mateo. Watching this right there approaching Burlingame on 82 within the next few minutes. Now we're looking at a bigger storm system, and we know from basic science that warm air rises, but these little disturbances in the atmosphere are forcing cold air to rise. So we are going to see the showers, possibly some thunderstorms popping up today, and also some small hail. Here's that next disturbance right there. It's moving into the Bay Area, and then as I zoom out, I'm going to show you this bigger storm system that's drawing in all of these disturbances, and it won't be until Saturday when that pushes off to the east that we'll start to see some much more quiet weather here in the Bay Area. So as you're getting dressed this morning, you do need a rain jacket, also the umbrella, with those showers at times moving through. We're going to see another round of some light rain by late morning into early afternoon, but by this evening a lot of this stuff tapers off, and then the next storm system moves in by tomorrow late morning, and it continues off and on through about Saturday morning. So I'll be tracking all of this for you. Mike, you're tracking another crash, this time on Highway 4.
Yeah, I am, Carrie, and that's sort of in the area where that rain traveled through most recently. You just showed that on the radar over there just north of the Concord area. Now, another cell coming through Hayward, not presenting much of a problem, and most of the bay showing that typical light build, now hitting through the South Bay. We are looking over here. Westbound Highway 4 is moving smoothly in your commute direction. Eastbound at Alhambra, we did hear about a crash, and that was from Brenda Navarro, and she's one of our Wazers on NBC Bay Area Wazers. That is showing a little slowing, and that's the good news is that things are starting to clear up from what it looks like on the sensors. The roadway showing us damp roadways throughout Concord and much of the Walnut Creek interchange, but no major problems there. Lower the speeds. Watch out. There's a chance for spinouts there. The East Shore Freeway still just 34 minutes from Highway 4 to the Bay Bridge, a couple minutes longer. A few more folks through Berkeley, and no delays for these transit agencies. Sometimes weather causes delays, but not today. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much. Coming up next, a quick look at the top stories across the Bay Area, including the search underway this morning for a hit-and-run driver in the South Bay. We'll show you the dramatic video showing the incident, and we'll find out how the victim is doing this morning.
But first, happening now, the votes are in Germany, and Merkel has just been sworn in as her fourth term as the German chancellor. The lawmakers voted earlier today to re-elect Merkel, nearly 6 months after Germany's election and Olympic coalition building effort. Plus, the world's former #1 doubles tennis player has died. Ken Flatch, who lived in the North Bay, was being treated originally for bronchitis at UCSF when he died. Flatch won 6 Grand Slam titles and a gold medal at the 1988 Seoul Olympics. He was just 54 years old. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Welcome back. Before you head out the door, here are the top stories on Today in the Bay.
Nationwide school walkouts on the East Coast are set to start in just a minute. You're looking live at Foothill High School in Pleasanton. Now, it's just one of more than 100 Bay Area schools taking part at 10 a.m. our time. Oakland Unified School District says it fully supports the walkout, but wants kids to stay on campus. The school says that it will set up free speech area on campus. Officials say disciplinary action for students will be dealt with on a case-by-case basis. And a live look in Milpitas for you right now. That's where students are expected to walk out of class at 10 a.m. today, 1 month following the Parkland school shooting rampage. The students were initially told their participation in the walkout would mean an unexcused absence, but the school leaders have since backtracked on that. The walkout is expected to be brief, supervised by staff members. Students at other Bay Area high schools and around the nation, for that matter, are planning to hold similar walkouts.
Now, the plan is for 10 o'clock this morning. So given our time changes, we are getting live pictures into our newsroom this morning showing some of the other student walkouts happening in different parts of the country. Walkouts are beginning now along the East Coast. An NBC News special report with Savannah Guthrie will start in just a few minutes. And live pictures from San Jose now, where the search is on for a hit-and-run driver who struck a 12-year-old girl in a crosswalk. All of it caught on video. You can see the teenager crossing in that crosswalk when a late model Toyota Camry strikes her. Now, this happened at North 17th and East Julian Streets on Monday morning. The teen is going to be okay. No life-threatening injuries for her, but the police say they want to see who this driver is. They say she is a white woman, likely in her 40s to 50s with brown hair. Do contact San Jose Police if you have information. If you are that woman, turn yourself in.
And tributes are pouring in this morning for renowned British theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking, now who died peacefully at his home in England. He was best known for his theoretical or as a theoretical physicist for his time, and wrote about the mysteries of space, time, and black holes. His book, A Brief History of Time, became an international bestseller and made him one of the most famous scientists since Albert Einstein. Hawking was paralyzed at the age of 21 by ALS and was told that he would only live a few more years. But he defied those odds. He was 76 years old.
6:57 now. President Trump leaves California, headed for St. Louis today. He spent yesterday visiting Southern California, where he toured these prototypes for his proposed border wall in San Diego. Then he went on to L.A. During his visit, he also criticized leaders in California's sanctuary cities, saying that they are protecting criminals.
The very first lawsuit has been filed against a San Francisco fertility clinic where hundreds of frozen eggs and embryos may have been damaged. And this morning, there's a push to turn that claim into a class action lawsuit. The Mercury News is reporting a woman is suing Pacific Fertility Center for damages due to negligence and breach of contract. The law firm representing the woman claims at least 400 people have been affected after a storage tank at the facility may have malfunctioned. The problem discovered by the clinic early this month.
All right, well, Mike is watching the roadways, but Carrie is watching that radar.
Yeah, we've seen the rain popping up here and there. You want to make sure right now you download that NBC Bay Area app so that you can track the rain and get alerts as rain approaches your location. It's going to be off and on throughout the day, and also the next several days. Through Saturday, we're still going to have some unsettled weather.
All right, now we want to get a last check of what's going on with the traffic.
Yeah, and we have damp roadways, of course. So as we look at your maps, you be careful out there, but nothing major like yesterday. As Carrie said, continuing to track the rain. We do have a disabled vehicle southbound 101, possibly a crash at Cesar Chavez. That may be an issue where the hazard marker is there. And look at this, the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. I know it's backed up, but I wanted to look at the sky.
That is really pretty.
Clouds.
Yeah.
Something
you
beautiful
just said
in
what
that
I was
picture.
thinking.
All right, that's what's happening with Today in the Bay. And we're back at 7:25 with live local news update for you.
Right now, we do want to go to an NBC News special report with Savannah Guthrie on the National Student Walkout. As we look live at some of those walkouts are getting underway on the East Coast as